Hi, this is Tony, and we're back on the bench. And this evening, we're going to be doing a real quick walkthrough service here on this Zebco Model 101. I just went through this reel, but it needed a little bit of cleaning on the inside, and the line had to be stripped off, and so I just kind of wanted to reduce, the time on the video a little bit. But we're going to go through every step here real quick. Start with taking the top cap off. All these push button reels, most of them are pretty simple in design. And anyone can really work on them and service these reels. I'd say probably their only real downside is that a lot of them, they're made from plastic, housings and stuff like that. Not a big deal. This particular reel was made in 1983. It actually says that right here, from Brunswick, 1983, American company, Zebco. So, yeah, but I love these reels. They're staple, they're standards. So I've got a 3/8 nut driver here that we can take this handle nut off with. But yeah, I had to do a little bit of cleaning on this reel, and it just kind of bogs down the time on the video. But basically, when it comes to reel maintenance, cleaning and stuff, it's real simple. Have some WD-40 nearby, have some shop rags nearby like this, towels. Some Q-tips are helpful as well. So we've got two washers here. There's a flat washer, and then there's a tension washer here. Okay, take those out there. Okay. And then at this point, what you need to do is you need to hold the main gear with your hand and then turn the top cap counterclockwise. Okay, this nut that you see on top, this is not a nut that you can get a socket or a nut driver on. Okay, it's like stamped on there. Okay, so it's not really meant to come off. All right, you want to clean up on the inside of here, of course. Real simple. Okay, and then this spool actually snaps in. There's these two little keys here, and what you have to do is you have to rotate the spool, and then you can get that out like so. Okay, so that's real simple. Okay, and at that point you can start pulling all your innards out. You got your pinion gear. Okay, and then you've got a main gear here with a shaft on the inside. Okay, and there's a couple of washers in there as well, spacer washers. You want to make sure you don't lose those. Okay, and then at this point you've got your dog click right there, and then this main shaft that goes on in there. That's the whole reel right there. We just did that in 3 minutes. Okay, so now assuming that you have to do some cleaning, you need to go through all these parts. I like to throw them in a parts bin, hose them down with some WD-40, clean them up the best that you can, and then we go back basically in the reverse order. Okay, and while we do that, we apply some grease, some real grease, to these parts here. And I'm using Penn Precision Blue Grease as usual. This is kind of my go-to. Plenty of products out there. Just make sure that they're meant for fishing reels. It's what I say in all my videos. It's a real simple thing. Okay, so at this point, you're just going back in the reverse order. Okay, but you want to make sure, one of the first things that you want to make sure of is when you're putting this piece back, you want to make sure that it's oriented correctly. Right, and there's this little hole down here. It's a little hard to see on camera, but you got to make sure that this notch gets in that hole first. Okay, all right, but you want to clean everything up the best that you can. Okay, and then apply blue grease to these gear teeth as well as the shaft. Okay, and then you can slide that back into position. You don't need to load these reels up with a ton of grease. All right, that's just going to give you a lot of problems in the end, essentially. Okay, so it should look something like that. Okay, clean up your pinion gear really well. Okay, and then apply that blue grease to that pinion gear. It goes back like so. Okay, and then you're ready to put your spool back. There was some old fishing line on this spool, and I had to get that off of there as well. Okay, and then just rotate that so that those keys lock in. Okay, and then you can put your top cap back on. Make sure that you clean it up underneath. Sand and grit and dirt, anything off the bank or the shore, has a tendency to get hung up in a lot of these crevices and areas on these reels, okay? And you just want to gently tighten that with your hand. You don't need to torque it or get rough with it. You'll end up breaking it, okay? And then we have just the rest of these parts here, basically. And what we can do is we can just rest this back down into place here, and we can actually put our top cap back on at this point. Okay, so flat washer, tension washer, like so. And then you've got your star drag, which is helpful if you're fighting a bigger fish. Not all push buttons have that necessarily. Okay, and then we've got our handle right here. But yeah, real simple design, these reels. And if you have one of these reels and you're thinking of working on one, if you got some basic household tools, brass wire brush, to clean the gears up with, Q-tips, things like that, some WD-40 and whatnot, reel grease, anyone can work on these reels, okay? And just gently tighten that up, okay? And that reel's ready to go, all right? So that's the Zebco 101, serviced, ready to go do some fishing. If you liked the video, please make sure you do give it a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more, please make sure you do subscribe, hit the notification button. That way you will be getting all the updates as to when there are new videos coming out. And I have quite a few new projects that are going to be coming up on the bench in the weeks and months to follow. So stay tuned for that, and we'll see you next time.